The static nursery. Asha Patel hadn't been inside the abandoned Crestview Daycare since it closed 8 years ago, after a rash of unexplained infant deaths. Now, hired to photograph the property for an auction listing, she crept through warped doors and peeling wall murals of smiling suns. The daycare's power was long cut, yet the baby monitor on the dusty check-in desk crackled to life. KSHT. Lullaby. KSHT. Asha froze. The monitor glowed pale green, broadcasting soft coos and the creak of a rocking chair. She lifted the receiver. The signal grew clearer, as though the nursery camera was still wired somewhere deep in the building. Following the audio, she passed playrooms littered with toppled blocks and sun-bleached drawings of families, faces crudely scratched out. The lullaby drifted down a hallway that reeked of talc and mildew. As she neared the old infant room, her breath misted in a sudden pocket of frigid air. Inside, rows of tiny cribs sat under a sagging ceiling. Every mattress was bare, except one. There lay a vintage, motionless baby doll, plastic eyes half open, chest rising and falling with a sound like crumpling paper. The rocking chair beside it began to move, pushing itself into a slow, rhythmic arc. Through the monitor's speaker came a whisper, "Shush, Mommy's here." Asha's camera flashed. In the strobe she saw fleeting silhouettes, caregivers frozen mid-scream, infants dangling limp in their arms. When the flash died, the room looked normal, except now the doll was sitting up, its mouth open impossibly wide. Static howled from the monitor. Asha staggered backward and tripped over a phonograph that hadn't been there a second before. The needle dropped itself, grinding out the same warped lullaby, a tune she realized she'd heard in leaked police evidence years ago, the soundtrack of the last security tape before the deaths. The doll's porcelain skin split at the seams. From within, tiny hands pushed, followed by hollow eye sockets and blue-black tongues. They spilled over the crib rail, not dolls, but the shrunken, desiccated infants themselves, crawling toward her on brittle limbs, mouths chirping like broken music boxes. As Asha bolted, emergency exit lights flickered on, guiding her down a stairwell. Halfway, the steps flattened into a polished nursery floor. Cribs grew from the concrete like tombstones, boxing her in. On every mattress, a baby monitor blinked to life, broadcasting her own ragged breathing. "Stay for story time," the speaker chorus whispered, voices overlapping. Dead caretakers, dead children, dead airwaves. Asha's scream surged through every monitor, looping back at her in a feedback shriek. She clamped her ears, but the noise drilled inside her skull until thought itself fractured into static. The last thing she saw was the doll again, now life-sized, cradling her with stiff ceramic arms, rocking her to sleep in the chair that had never stopped moving. The next morning, auctioneers found the daycare unlocked. No sign of Asha, just a child-sized plastic doll slumped in the rocker, a DSLR camera nestled in its lap, lens cap neatly snapped on. When they powered the camera, every frame was nothing but crawling static. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget like, comment and subscribe.